Yeah. So you are all welcome back. Yeah. So you are all welcome to today's webinar. And it's a privilege, just like I mentioned, to have you. If you are watching this as a replay or if you are live here, it's a privilege to have you join this session. Yes. And I believe at the end of this meeting, you're going to be learning something that will be powerful enough to change your life, that will be powerful enough to do something drastic in your life. You are here, I believe, because you believe that what it is that we are sharing tonight is something that you need. You are here because you value yourself. You are here because you want to grow. You want to change something. That is why you find yourself here. And this is one
Yes,
of the
ma'am.
this is one reason, one reason I should celebrate you for making this deliberate efforts to be here tonight. It shows that you
Amen.
care about yourself. It shows that you want to grow. It shows that you want to be everything that God have destined you to be. So you are welcome
Amen.
to class. Okay. So
Amen.
I would want us to play a small game tonight before we
Okay.
call it, before we get into the real thing. Can you see
Okay.
my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. Please confirm if you can see my screen. All right. This is even okay. So before we go on, I want you to describe one thing that describe your day, one word that describe your day. Tell us one word that describe your day. What is that one word that describe your day? Can you type it in the comment
The
section?
preaching of today.
Mine was a little bit stressful because I was actually just, you know, um, returning from a trip with my family. So the week have been something else. So today has been a little bit stressful, but amazing at the same time. So kindly type in the comment section. I don't know why I'm not hearing you, Kathleen, but please can you type in the comment section if you're seeing anything? Type it on the comment section. One word that describe your day. Okay. So while we do that, let's get into what we have for
But
tonight.
I don't know
So
where to
tonight
write
we are
it
looking at
to.
a powerful
I'm
topic
not
that
seeing where
says
to write.
how father wound may be sabotaging your relationship and what you can do today. How father wound is sabotaging your relationship as a daughter and what you can start doing immediately to about it, what you can start doing immediately about it. Okay, so tonight we are going to be looking at the introductory part of this meeting. We are going to be looking at what father wound is all about. What is father wound? When you talk about father wound, some people call it daddy issues. When you talk about father wound, when you talk about daddy issues, what are you talking about? What is that thing that you are talking about? And then from there, we'll look at how father wound shapes a daughter's brain, how father wound shapes a daughter's brain or wires a daughter's brain. And then we'll look at understanding repetitive compulsion, understanding repetitive compulsion. From there, we move into 7 beliefs daughters develop as a result of father wound. The 7 beliefs that daughters develop as a result of father wound. From there, we look at practical ways that, sorry, let me get someone in. So practical ways, we look at practical ways daughters can begin their healing journey today. Practical ways that daughters can begin their healing journey today. And then that will be a wrap, the conclusion part of it. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So let's get into it. Let's get into it. So before
Okay.
we start, I would want to share a little bit about myself. I know this is something that I've been posting in the group, and I believe that a lot of us has taken the time to read through, while some of us are still trying to, go through it and understand everything that is going on in the group and all that. But I'm going to say one or two things about me. So my name is Esther, Mrs. Esther Moloku, or you can call me Esther, whatever one that's that is okay with you. So my name is Esther Moloku. I will always say this, that I am that girl who grew up without her father. And I would also say that it takes my 2-year-old to teach me how to pronounce the word dad, pronounce in such a way that it's not that I don't know how to pronounce that 3-letter word, but I grew up not actually knowing how to make use of that word until my 2-year-old taught me how to mention that word. Okay, so growing up, it wasn't really easy, not having a father to call daddy, or not having someone who you run into his arm and who cuddle you, or who corrects you and all that. So of course, as a child, there is nothing more important for every growing up child than having food to eat, having clothing to wear, and having shelter under your roof and all that. So these are the things I had the privilege to have as a young child, being that I equally have uncles and aunts who were actually there to make sure that I am fine. However, that was not able to fix the broken walls that growing up without a father has developed in my life. I didn't know all this until I moved from childhood into teenagehood, down to adulthood, and eventually got married and everything. And that was when I started seeing the screaming effects, because it started affecting my relationships. It started affecting how I relate with my husband. It started affect how I show up in rooms. It started affecting every other thing about my life, because I didn't have the privilege to look into it. It was in the heat of all these things that I started having a conversations with my husband, and at a time he said, "Oh, I think you should go for therapy. I think we should meet a counselor and talk about it and all that." That was during the therapy session and everything. That was how I got to discover what was wrong with me. It has been a journey. It has been a journey. When I mean a journey, a capital letter journey, right? However, I believe that this conversation is going to open you up, because it's going to be, I will be sharing things that will resonate with you. I'll be sharing things that I struggled with, and I believe it will, give you light to what is going on in your life, and how you need to start working towards your own personal healing journey. Okay, and I want to do a disclaimer at this because sometimes people believe that talking about father wound or talking about healing from all this is about blaming the fathers, is about saying that our daddies doesn't try or they are bad and all that. Is far from it. This is about helping you realize how much some things that you don't even know may be affecting your life and guiding you into doing something about them. Okay, so confirm if you can still hear me. So this is what we are going to be doing tonight. So this conversation is going to open you up, is going to teach you some certain things, going to open your eyes so that you understand. Because in my own case, I didn't understand what was happening to me. I didn't understand why I keep attracting the same kind of thing. I keep repeating a particular pattern in my relationship. I didn't quite understand it until things started making sense, until I walked into therapy and things started making sense to me. Okay, so just like I said, tonight we'll be looking at, let me go back to that slide. We'll be looking at what father wound is all about. We'll be looking at how father wound shapes a daughter's life. We'll be looking at shapes a daughter's brain, rather. We'll be looking at understanding repetitive compulsion. And we'll be looking at 7 beliefs daughters develop as a result of father wound. And then we'll talk about practical ways that you can start doing something about this father wound and about your journey generally. Okay, so let's go into it. So what is father wound? When you talk about father wound, or when you hear father wound, what is it all about? What is it all about? Because what you don't understand, you will not make sense of. Yes, what we don't understand, there is no way you can make sense of it. There is no way you can even start healing from it, or there is no way you can start making progress out of it. So there is need for us to start with this fundamental, understanding what father wound is all about, understanding what some people call it daddy issues, understanding what daddy issue is all about, okay, and how it is shaping, or it could shape a daughter's relationship. So let's start with what is father wound. So when we talk about father wound, is a psychological, is a relational, and is a neurobiological injuries that develop when a father is absent. When a father is absent, when a father is emotionally unavailable, when a father is inconsistent, when a father is critical or unsafe during a child's formative years. So when you talk about father wound, it's not a kind of wound that we see. It's not a kind of wound that people can easily detect. It's something that is psychological. It is relational, and it's a neurobiological injuries. It's something that happens in the brain. It's something that rewire the brain, the way the brain functions, the way the brain relates. And it is developed as a result. It happens as a result of a father being absent, a father being emotionally unavailable, a father being inconsistent, a father being critical or unsafe during a child's formative years. It's important for us to know that formative years. It just happen when a daughter has grown, no. It starts from when a child is quite young. During her formative years, that is when the issue of father wound begins, when a child is still quite younger. It's also important for us to note this definition also, that father wound is a deep-seated emotional hurt incurred as a father's inability or failure to provide love, to provide safety, to provide validation, support, or presence for his children. So a father wound also is also an emotional hurt, is emotional wound. Is something that happens emotionally, inside, internally, as a result of a father's inability to or failure to provide love, validation, support, and all that. One of the things people feels is like I hear people say my father is around, my father was present at home, he wasn't absent. But it's not all about whether your father is living in the same roof with you. He can be living in the same roof with you, however, he is just emotionally unavailable. He can be living in the same roof with you, but he wasn't taught, or he didn't learn, or he didn't got the privilege, or he wasn't able, and he's not able to provide the love and the validation that is required. He can be living in the same roof with you, and the only thing he knows about fatherhood is just provision. It's just making sure that my daughter goes to school. So we're not talking about whether daddy is available or not, whether he's living under the same roof with you or not. That is not the basis of the conversation. The basis for the conversation is that that whether he is, available and emotionally in tune with you. Was he able to teach you how connecting emotionally is important in your life as a daughter, by modeling it, by helping you see it? That is what we are talking about. A lot of fathers understand provision, they understand discipline, but the language of emotional connection is so strange for them. And this is shaping daughters' life. This is rewiring the brain of daughters. And that is why we are here this evening, so that I will help you to understand what your dad not being available, emotionally in your life can cause in your life, and what you as a person can start doing. Because we are not here to talk about him, we are here to talk about you. He has done his work, he has done what he can do at this point in your life. It's not about blame, it's about you taking responsibility, so that you can start living differently, and not allowing the wound of his absence to keep shaping your life, or to keep making you do things that you are not supposed to do as a daughter. Do you understand? Please let me know if you are following. Can you still hear me? Are you following? Okay, so let's talk about the last definition. The last definition is that father issues, like I said, some people call it father issues, is still talking about the same thing. But just to also talk about that, which is also the same thing generally, refers to emotional challenges stemming from complicated relationship with a father figure, which eventually leads to difficulties in forming healthy adult relationship. Some people will tell you that this lady has daddy issues. What they are basically talking about that is that they have difficulty, forming healthy adult issues as a result of not having a healthy relationship with a male figure or their father growing up. So it's the same thing. Now let's talk about how fatherhood wires a daughter's brain. How fatherhood wires a daughter's brain. Now, okay, so I think I should go to the next slide. So that is what we are talking about here now. Now, to deeply understand this, it's important for us to understand the aspect of attachment style. There's something they call attachment theory or attachment style. And this is a theory that is being formulated by John Bowlby. Okay, so this attachment style, is established. Based on his explanation, he said that human beings are wired for connection. The human beings are wired for connection, and that the quality of early bonds, caregivers, shapes the internal working model through which a person navigates their future relationships. So what this thing is saying is that as a daughter, that as you are growing, there's something they call attachment style. And this attachment style is formed. Let me get someone in. A lot of people have been trying to join, but I don't know whether it's their network or my own. I will add them, and then I will see them. Okay, so this attachment style is a way being taught by how our parents are able to model it while we are yet younger. We human beings, we are wired for connection. No matter what you do, you are meant to socialize, you are meant to connect with people. However, how our mothers and our fathers connect with us shapes the way we would eventually start connecting with people as we grow, as we mature. The way our father and mother is able to connect with us as children determines how we connect with people. Now, when a father is consistently present, safe, and affirming, the child develops what is called secure attachment. When a father is available, when a father is in tune, when a father is safe for their daughters, that child will develop what is called secure attachment style. Here, the child learns that relationship is trustworthy. He learns that relationship is that they are worthy of love, rather. They learn that the world is the place they can navigate. They learn that it is safe to connect with people. This child will end up developing a capacity to self-regulate themselves. They will know how to tolerate intimacy, even when they will know how to, navigate people coming close to them. And they will also learn how to say no to negative relationships as a result of them being taught. Even if it's not, daddy and mommy sitting them together and, having to lecture them, but based on the way they are being connected to, they will learn how to do what? How to connect safely. Now, when a father is unpredictable, when he is absent, when he is unsafe, when he is critical, the child will develop one of the attachments, which is called insecure attachment. He will rather develop that or develop another one that is called anxious or avoidance. And this will become the blueprint that child begins to connect with people because of the way they have been connected to as a child. So when a child grows up and the attachment style that they form is anxious attachment style, one of the things that you see them do is that they will begin to clinch desperately in relationship. They don't want to let people go. They will fear abandonment. They will read every interaction for signs that they are not, they will soon be, left behind. People will eventually leave them because of there is no healthy and there is no secure attachment that was done as they were maturing. There's another one that is called disorganized attachment style. A disorganized child as an adult will be frightened to, they will be frightened to connect in relationship. In fact, they will long to connect in relationship, but when they find out that this person is getting so closely, they will pull back. They are craving to be loved, but then they fear closeness because they believe that, and this is formed when the father or the mother as a child, the father and the mother becomes a source of security and fear at the same time. The child is always being threatened, and this time they are being threatened. The other time it seems like the child is receiving love and care. So at the point the child's connection style will be so disorganized that they don't know what is expected of them. They don't know if they connect, it will lead to something else, or if they will just be so confused. So that is the product is, you see an adult, they're in a relationship, someone is getting close, they will pull back. They will pull back. So another thing I also want us to talk about is that the father wound also affects the nervous system. Chronic anxiety, chronic stress in childhood. When a father is unpredictable, when he's emotionally neglect the child, when there is fear, when there is abandonment, this deregulates the nervous system. It trains the nervous system to dictate what is supposed to be safe to be unsafe. It makes the nervous system not to develop in such a way that threats and safety can be separated at the same time. Please confirm if you are still following. Can you still hear me? Are you following? Okay. So the adult's body at this point is not responding to what is actually happening. Okay, I missed something. This is why compulsion can feel almost physical. Why a certain tone of voice, a particular look of disappointment, or a moment of silence from someone important can trigger a response that seems widely appropriate, yes, to a situation. This is when that adult is deliberated in a relationship, little things trigger stress. So for example, if that individual is in a relationship and maybe something happened and the person is not able to respond to text messages and all that, the next line of action or the next line of thought is that maybe this person is angry with me, or this person. So any little thing drive that person back to what he or she lacked as a child. Do you understand? So at this point, the adult body is not responding to just what is happening. They are responding to what has happened to them as children. Okay, so now let's move into the next point, which is which is understanding repetitive compulsion. Understanding repetitive compulsion. Now, I also want us to do a little bit thing here, a little bit study like we did in the other one. There is a psychologist that is called Sigmund Freud. He observed that human beings have a unconscious tendency to repeat painful experiences. Let me say that again. This psychologists rather observe that human beings have a tendency to repeat what has happened to them, painful things unconsciously, and he called it repetitive compulsion. So this is repetitive compulsion is a kind of conscious drive that makes people to go through, what a painful experiences that they have had over and over again. It's a result of them trying to fix what has happened before. And I'll give you an example. So this is a psych drive to return again and again to unresolved emotional situations in search of different outcome. So something happens to them. Okay, let me give you an example. So let's say, for example, a child who grows up and the father, it's okay. So I heard a story of someone. Let me give you this tricky example. Is of someone whose father wasn't providing. He's not the kind of person that provides. So the mom is the one who does almost everything. So this young lady ended up getting married and getting married to a man with the mindset that he's going to teach him how to provide for the family. So unconsciously, he will see himself driving the husband, to provide for the family, to go all out and do this and do this and do this and do this. Now she's trying to teach the husband what he felt that the daddy, did not know. Because inside of her, she wants to change something that she has experienced. And sometimes in such a situation, she will see herself attracting men that looks like men that may not have the capacity to provide like her. And as a result of that, she will want to help him to come up. This is an unconscious thing. That's why we say that father wound is a neural. What again? It's something that is done in the brain. It's something that rewires the brain. So it's not all about physical. It's not an emotional wound. It's not something you see. It's usually in the brain. It's on that rewires the brain of a child. Okay. So the unconscious mind stores up the original wound as unfinished business. It holds the pain and as an open loop, a story that ended badly and was never resolved. So because of that, it will engineer scenarios that looks like what that child have experienced. That is why you see ladies who enter relationship that looks like what they have experienced before, and they'll be wondering what is going on. It's because something inside of them is trying to change what has happened to them as children. So they keep attracting the same kind of people with the hope that, okay, in fact, this is so unconscious that if you don't pay attention to it, that if you don't know it, you will see yourself unconsciously repeating the same thing without you knowing it. So it's important for us to pay attention to that. Okay. So, because one of the things that also happen is that the brain seems like is something that is so familiar. The brain has, in fact, let me even tell you, do you know that these ladies, if for example, they are attracting unhealthy relationship where the man is always abusive, that's their repetitive compulsion, or yes, is attracting men that is abusive, emotionally unavailable, and all that. When they eventually meet men who will be kind to them, who will love them for who they are, they will start feeling that that kind of person is no good for them. The brain will start seeing those people as so unsafe that they want to even use their hand to leave those relationships. I mean, this is someone that is caring, healthy, maybe godly. They will use their hand to leave that relationship because their brain has been wired to meet a certain kind of people, to meet a certain kind of individuals. And so when the brain is not detecting those things that that have already been mastered, that the brain have already mastered, when they are not detecting those things in those men, in that kind of man or that kind of men or something, they would leave because they will see like this person is not giving that the same vibe. Now, the person that is so abusive, they'll be vibing for that person. Do you understand the twist now? So that is why it's important that you understand what is going on. Because if you don't understand, if you don't know it, you intentionally, like it's not intentional, but you unintentionally attract the people with the hope that, I'm going to, in fact, some women will say, I will fix him. But you can't fix anyone. You can't fix any man. Trust me, you can't. Please, let's confirm if you are learning anything new this evening. If I'm not wasting your time, if this meeting is worth it, because we are gradually ending it. So let's talk about 7 beliefs that daughters may carry as a result of fatherhood. 7 beliefs that daughters do carry as a result of this thing. So number 1 is that I am not good enough. I am not good enough. Just like I told us some minutes ago, that these ladies will meet people who are even caring and good. They'll use their hand to disqualify themselves. That this is not the kind of person this person is too good for me. When a daughter repeatedly experiences rejection, criticism, comparison, emotional neglect, or lack of affirmation, one of the things that she carries with her is that she may constantly feel that she needs to become prettier. She needs to become smarter. She needs to be in a certain way so that she can be valued in a relationship. This is one of the mindsets that these daughters carry as a result of fatherhood, as a result of having, sorry, let me get someone in. As a result of, having this kind of mindset, like I've explained, that's one of the mindsets that comes with it. I'm not good enough. I am not. So you see them going extra mile. You see them doing certain things to keep people around them, even when these things are against who they are and their personal value. Number 2 is that they believe that they will have to earn love. They will have to earn it. Okay, when love, attention, and approval feels so unconditional, feels so conditional rather, as a child. Remember I've explained how, you know, these things, father wound is being formed or being wired during childhood. So when a daughter grows up in a family that love has to be conditional, one of the things that daughter will carry as a mindset is that she would have to earn that love, that she would have to earn it. Let me give you an example. So I read a story of a lady who said that while growing up, the only time that the father commend her is when she, gets a higher grade. That's the only time you hear something like, I am proud of you, you are doing well, that is my daughter, and all that. So when she now grows up, she believes that she would have to perform, she would have to work and work to still gain that validation from people. So when she finds herself in a relationship, the only way she believes that relationship will be is when she overgive, is when she labor and labor and labor. That's the only time that, in fact, she doesn't believe that relationship is about building from this person, from the other person. She didn't believe that. She believed that she herself would have to do the work for it to be sustained. That's a belief. And of course, a limited belief. So the next one is, people I love eventually leave me. This is another belief that some daughters, carry, especially when they find themselves in a situation where their father is totally absent, or when there is a divorce, or when there is a separation. Because a father figure is one of the reliable source of love and security for a daughter. When a father eventually leave her, she would believe that one day, this person may eventually leave. So something, small thing happened, and before you know it, she already think this person is angry with me, she eventually leave. That's the mindset. And when we have this mindset, it will flow into relationships. It will flow into our relationship, eventually making it not to be the best we always wanted it to be. Okay? So let me read what I have here. If a father was absent, inconsistent, or repeatedly walked in or out of a daughter's life, abandonment can become an expectation. She may enter relationship already preparing for anything. A delayed text message becomes that she's losing interest. A disagreement to her may feel like he will eventually leave. He's going on a leave. She's already thinking that, maybe that will be the end. Because of course, her brain, remember when we talked about the brain, her brain have already been structured in such a way that this is how it's going to end. So the number 4 belief, limiting belief, is that men cannot be trusted. And I know that this is not a new term. You see a lot of ladies saying men cannot be trusted. All men are the same. This is a powerful limiting belief that if you don't want to have a healthy relationship, you would have to sit back and believe them. Always expecting betrayal, always expecting abandonment, always expecting emotional neglect or abuse is a belief that some ladies would have to do something about. because it's not true. It's a limiting belief. And one thing about belief is that when you have them, they would help you to form your expectations. Those beliefs will help you to form the expectation, things that nothing that you're expecting. The belief will channel everything that you are going to be, the outcome of that relationship in that direction. So because of that, she may question motives, she may expect disappointment. In the relationship, we eventually start looking for signs that the man is hurting her or is doing something that will eventually make the relationship unsafe. Okay, because of what she's what have already preoccupied her mind before entering that relationship. So the fifth one is that I don't need anybody. I don't need anybody. This is one of the beliefs that daughters carry as a result of father wound. And you can also call it hyper independence. Daughters who grew up without father involvement may grow up believing that they don't need a man in their life. They don't need man in their life. And it's not that they don't need the man, but the man rather. But because of things that has happened, because of they have been like, there are people that in their family system, I know someone like that they have been raised to become independent on their own. Is it wrong to be independent? I mean, independent. No, it's not wrong. Trust me, it's not wrong. But you really want to also sit back to ask yourself some questions. Now, one of the things that happen is that these daughters, they would end up not knowing how to receive help from people. They would end up not knowing how to receive help. That people want to help them, they don't want to receive that help because they believe that they don't need anybody. And that is not true. We are human beings and we need people. We need people who genuinely care and value us and who would make our life easier. So, daughters, sorry, ma, please, I don't understand you clearly. Okay, so let me repeat that point again. So one of the mindsets that limits a daughter develop rather as a result of father wound is that I don't need anybody. I don't need anybody. So what that entails is that you will see a daughter who she is in need of help, but they struggle to ask for that help because they believe that they are not supposed to. Number two, that they cannot, reduce themselves to that point where people feel that they are beggars. Do you understand? They believe that they are self-sufficient even when they need help. Now, am I saying that being independent is wrong? No. In fact, being independent is one of the things that help ladies to strive, that helps them to achieve, that push them forward. However, it's also important that as a lady, when you find out that you are such an independent person, you want to make sure that it is not a limiting, it's not a limiting system in your life, in the sense that you don't know how to receive help, in the sense that you don't know how to, allow people become a help to you. Do you get that now? So you want to make sure that it's not a limiting system. It's not you have not trained yourself, or rather, the circumstances of growing up without a loving father have not put you in such a place that you don't need any person. Am I clear? Do you think you understand that now? Okay. So let's get to the next one. So the next one is that, just like I mentioned, independence. There's another one that is dependent. And this is when a daughter feels that she always needs people. That's another thing where she feels that unless someone is in her life, she's not complete. That's a limiting belief. I usually tell young people, especially young ladies, that one of the best seasons of your life is when you are single. Honestly, that's one of the best seasons of your life, because you have 100% time to do whatever you want to do, to build your life however you want it. The moment you step into another season, that is a different ball. A lot of demand will start coming. Now, when a young lady grows up, believing that she would always need a man to complete her, if she's not in any relationship, she's worthless. Is something to actually deal with. Because the honest truth is, I will also say this, that nobody will be able to complete you. You cannot accept what you cannot give to yourself. If you don't know how to love yourself where you are as an individual person, when that person who is lovable will come, you will still struggle to receive that love. You will still struggle with it because you have not actually learned how to love yourself as a person. So you need to take our time, because some also believe that, some believe that even when their relationship is toxic, they don't even know how to leave, because they believe that if they leave, that will be the end of them. That's not true. It's a limiting belief as a result of father wound. Nobody can complete you, and you can only accept love to the degree that you can accept it. You can give it to yourself. So it's important to understand that you are enough just the way you are. Like, you don't need anybody to give you that completion. You don't have to depend on people to give you the validation and care and love that you lack growing up. It's your responsibility to first give it to you as a person. Let's confirm the following. So lastly, before we get into the last part of this meeting, is which is the seventh belief is, okay, I must not need too much. So that's another belief. Some daughters believe that the emotional need has to be silenced. They don't have to communicate their expectation. They don't have to express themselves. They don't have to say things that are not right in the relationship. It's a limiting belief. When you are being offended and you cannot confront or you cannot spell out what is happening that you don't like, is another limiting belief that if you really want to move your relationship forward, you would have to disembag. Please, are we still here? Can you still hear me? Confirm. Let's get into the last part of this class. We have actually Spend the Lord here. Okay. So let's talk about how daughters can begin their healing journey today. As a daughter, do you think you need a healing process? And if you think you do that, I'm going to be teaching you here the 5-hour framework that we use in our coaching section. You know, during the Fathered Girl Foundation coaching section, this framework is things that we walk through, the people that register for our coaching program through, in order to do something about their healing journey. So the number one is the reflection part. The reflection part. You want to sit back and ask yourself some certain questions as a daughter. You have to self-reflect. You have to self-reflect. Ask yourself questions. Name what has happened. During our coaching program, one of the things, we give some exercises and we go into these frameworks one after the other in a very deeper level, walking you through every layer of it. So what I'm doing tonight is just part of it. So you want to ask yourself questions about your growing up, about your daddy's growing up too. What was his growing up like? What are the things that you experience? What are the key events? Some of us, I was listening to someone today, and he said that one of the things a lot of people have not learned to do is to actually forgive their parents, So a lot of us are carrying, like, there are still events that whenever you remember it in your relationship with your parents, you still cry over it. They still hurt you. You want to ask yourself some certain questions. You want to go back to those things that happened. Okay, like I said, I'm not going to get into it deeply, but I'm going to run through it so that you can have something to start your personal work with. And then if you desire our coaching program, you can as well reach out to Precious. Precious is there. You can reach out to Precious and get registered for it, because this framework is broken down. Like, it will walk you through, really walk you through. So it's a way of us holding the daughter's hand and walking them through their experiences in order to arrive into where they want to be in their healing journey. All right. So number 2 thing you want to do is to release the pain. You really want to. And here, one of the things we do in the coaching program is to give you some exercises that will help you to release the hurts. Some exercises that will help you. I mean, during Father's Day, there is one program we did, and it's also part of the programs we do to help you to let go of what has happened. Sometimes these experiences could be words that were spoken. What if there is no way to find out about him? Yes, you can forgive your father with or without his presence. There's this book I wrote, and I titled it how to forgive anyone with or without their presence, with or without them. Okay, so that is the second stage. You want to start exposing yourself to those healing programs, to healing exercises that will help you let go, that will help you to release those emotional wounds. So number 3 thing you also want to do is to reparent your inner child. Your inner child is where the wiring happened. Your inner child is where all those things that we've talked about happened. And that your inner child, it's what still go on to look for validation and love in relationships. It is still that inner child that takes you to, to people that are not even worthy of you, and you are there looking for love that you are not given. It's that inner child that does all those. So you have to learn how to how to reparent that inner child. Okay, you have to do that. And then finally for tonight, there are actually 5, but I'm going to be ending in the 4th one, is redefinition. In this definition, during our coaching program, is in 2 ways. One would help you to identify who you are, and the other one would help you to redefine what has happened to you. So here you actually sit back to start debugging the beliefs you have about yourself in order to start forming new ones. So another thing I also recommend is that for those of you who feels that you would need it, is joining communities like coaching program or counseling sections or healing communities, because there is this thing that happens when you are in a community where there is healing there is healing atmosphere. Let me just put it that way, where everyone is working towards emotional healing, working towards wholeness. It will also help as a person. All right. So tonight, let me quickly run through what we have done tonight as a way of summary. So we have gone through what father wound is all about. So we went through how father wound shapes a daughter's brain. We went through understanding repetitive compulsion. We also learned 7 beliefs daughters develop as a result of father wound. And then we also looked at practical ways daughters can begin their healing journey today. So let me know, do you have any question or any contribution, what you feel that you've learned tonight, or any question that maybe as a result of the section you have been able to, how would I put it? Okay, so do you have any question? Chidema said, what if there is no way to find out about him? Okay, so I said that I think that question came in when I was talking about healing, forgiveness. Okay, even when there's something I want us to know, and okay, maybe let me just touch on what I've said about the brain. So even when the picture of a father is not there, the younger version of you, the younger Okay. I don't think can one really be free from the effects of fatherhood? Yes. Yes. However, healing is a journey. It's not a one-off thing. See the way that you have a cut in your hands, and then your hand rather, and then you go for treatment. They open it up, apply some things there, and then maybe give you some medications to keep taking, and then that is how healing journey is. Sometimes daughters feel that everything will just go no, it doesn't happen like that. However, you have to also give yourself the opportunity to heal. If a doctor prescribes a medicine for you, go home and take this drug. It will dry the wound from inside, and you go home without doing anything. Trust me, that wound will not heal. Of course, there is a way the body, find a way around it. But in such situation, the wound may get worse. And you may be saying, time heal wound. It's not true. Time doesn't heal emotional wound. It only deepens it. It buries it. It buries it to the point that they will start dictating your life unknowingly to you. Honestly, I would want you guys, if you can, to join the coaching program, because we are going to be doing a lot of unpacking there. We'll be talking about a lot. Okay, we'll be talking about a lot. The way I talk about reflection, there are certain questions that will be given to you to actually deep reflect about the things that has happened to you and a lot of things. And then we'll move you stage by stage as a gradual process. So in case if you're interested, just reach out to me or Precious, and she will send you details about it. So yes, like you asked, you can actually be free from fatherhood. It's possible. Trust me, it is. However, you have to give yourself the privilege to go through that process. You have to give yourself the grace to go through the process. Do you understand? So you're saying something about okay. So you're saying something about when he's not there, my dear. Even when he's not there, your inner child has a way of looking for him in every man. Your inner child has a way of searching for him in places. Trust me. Would you just be searching for, and unconsciously, so unconsciously, where it may not be that intense is maybe you eventually, as like I also encourage mothers. I don't know if I should say this, but where it's not usually that intense is maybe as you are growing, there was someone God was able to plant in your life as a father figure who stepped into that space, to be that guide. If not, that's how you'll be looking for him everywhere. Okay, so trust me, but it's something you can actually walk through. Yeah. So any other question before we call it a night? Please, do you think this meeting is worth it? Did I waste your time? Do you think you learned something? Kathleen, do you think you learned something?
Yes,
Yeah? Do you think you learned
Yes, ma'am.
anything tonight? Chidema, I know you came in quite late. I mean, we were, I think, in the beliefs when you joined. However, so far, do you think you learned anything? Chamaka, do you think you learned something?
yes, sir.
You want to speak or you want to type? I would want to see us say something. Oh, God.
Hello.
Okay.
I want to say something.
Okay, Amaka said it. Chidinma, did you learn anything? All right. So,
All right.
let me end
Yes, I do.